Yeah, like if all three of us could do the intro all at once, you better remember how it
I actually
goes.
don't remember. You change it. What do you mean? You better remember how it goes.
Yeah, I mean,
change it.
it's like the first two sentences are typically the same, though.
I only remember. Are you ready to rail some robots and get analyzed by aliens?
Okay, then we'll all simultaneously. We'll each do our own version. So get a good one in your fucking head right now. What's cooking in that noggin? I know some of us just have a marble rolling around in there, but we'll figure it out.
It's like that old like computer game where you have like the wooden maze and you gotta like tilt it so I gotta try and get that marble into the hole as soon as possible.
I have one of those water games where like you push the buttons and the rings just go up, but they don't catch anything. All right, ready for the intro?
God.
3, 2, 1. Simultaneously, we all fucking do it.
Okay. Sorry, I completely spaced.
We're leaving that in. I can leave that
I was trying to think of something funny, but it's just you're the intro mastermind, Lara. So I think I just gotta go. I think I just gotta go with the basics.
All right.
This is gonna be AIDS for the ears.
Best intro ever.
Guys, I think I've got an intro. Let me try and freestyle something here really quick. We'll see. We'll get your opinion on it. Actually.
Oh, Jesus.
All right, ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome to BuzzBait.
Welcome to BuzzBait. Your way to something new every week. Where we hate a dumb bitch, but we love a dumb whore. We've talked about
abusing elderly people. We've talked about population declining. We've talked about fucking robots, fucking Halloween costumes.
No, we don't fuck the Halloween costumes. We judged if we would fuck people wearing them. Welcome to BuzzBait, your wave of something horny each week.
Hell yeah! And today we are talking about relationship icks.
So the opposite of horny. What makes you?
What turns you off?
Yeah, what dries you up like the Sahara?
I hated all of that intro, guys.
It was the greatest intro we've ever done.
It was certainly one of the intros we've done.
Top 5 intros, but today, top 10 Reddit icks. I combed through Reddit, the worst place to comb through about relationship icks.
Post your appreciation in the comments for Lara for not just going on Reddit and quickly looking this up, but reading multiple Reddit posts.
Where I went to the lady side about what turns you off in a man, and also the men's side of what turns you off.
How are we going to handle this, Lara, if you describe the women's icks and it's just like play-by-play a description of me? Do I just like kill myself on the episode?
So what I did was I took into factor that according to a 2024 Reddit statistic, the user base is about 60% male.
That sounds about right.
So obviously, and that is very apparent as well when you go to these threads and it's like, hey men, like when you're on a date with a woman, what don't you like? And the men's posts all have like 4K likes, 6K likes, something like that. And then you go to the women's side and it's all like 400 likes, 300 likes, so it's very apparent in that nature. So I took that into account. I took into account of like what is being said the most on both sides. So it's more of like a universal ick than just being like, here's the top 10 lady icks, top 10 men icks. Because of the top 10 men icks would just be like when she's a woman, when she talks, when she looks at me funny, ick.
My number one, I'll put it right out in the front. My number one ick: humans. Give me some of that alien. Give me those robots. People, just not a huge fan. They're not great.
I've been watching Transformers a lot recently, and in one of the shows, they straight up show one of the moms, so one of the older ladies, being attracted to these robots, and I'm like, she knows what's up.
Yeah, dude, for real, she's on it. Optimus Prime, more like Optimus.
I was just gonna say it was Optimus Prime, which even I'm like, listen, I get it.
I can save this for later, but I saw an article where somebody was just like, with the new like buzz of the Transformers, I think it was a show. They were just like, do you guys want to hear about all the super old, discontinued, and embarrassing Transformers names? And I watched the entire video and I was like, that's insane that
Oh,
people
it's
like
awesome.
wrote comics and it was like, this robot's name is like Cum Socket or something. And I was like, sir.
So on that note, let's hop into some Reddit Icks.
Outstanding.
Meg, is your mic muted? Okay. She's dying on camera, like
It's true.
she's damn near to tears laughing.
No, I'm choking.
Oh, never mind.
She's dying.
It's like-
dying for a different
it's
reason.
She's dying. Oh my god. Content.
It's like stuck to my throat. It's like stuck in my esophagus.
You don't have like water or like bread?
It didn't do anything.
I'm just watching you die. I don't know what to do.
I can breathe is the thing. It's just like right here. Like I can feel it like touching my throat still.
Somebody go to Meg's house and just karate
My
chop
heart
her
rate is
in the
like so
esophagus.
high right now.
I can breathe. It's not like in my lungs. Like it's like literally like it's like it feels like my pill is stuck to the side of my fucking throat.
If you try to like get some, what's it called? You know how like when you cough to get like phlegm up? Would that work? Damn, you do got water. Check that thing out.
Is anybody home at your house, Meg?
Anybody?
Ask somebody to come upstairs and waterboard you and do it on camera.
Do it on camera. Content.
Clip it. Clip that
Chat,
chat.
clip that.
We are the most fucking brain dead people in God's earth.
Dude, we're so brain rotted you can see through our skull, I swear to God.
Like if you look in the right light from one ear, you'll be able to see clear out
See
the other
right
side.
through.
Unless the marble happens to be bouncing in that specific spot.
If the marble is stuck, man. Sometimes it gets stuck in the one ear. Stucks. What the fuck am I talking about?
I think I'm good. I think that it touched my throat and now there's like residue from the pill because I have one pill that doesn't have like a coating or anything on it. So I feel like it like touched the liquid and like kind of got like on there and then
I know what you're talking
because
about.
like I don't feel like the full pill is there anymore. So I think it's just
right. I get it.
yeah. Anyways, sorry.
So number 10 ick, choking on a pill on camera.
Number 10 ick, having to take 5 pills every morning. If that bitch has to take a fucking handful of medications,
She is not the one. No, so our first ick, number 10, smokers. So if they most people were kind of like, if they smoke cigarettes or like cigars specifically out, nobody said anything about like weed or crack. Well, they just said a lot of people were like, if you smoke mainly cigarettes, and I'm like, okay, well, what about if I'm smoking crack?
That's why
Is that
it's
cool?
so funny on Bumble because it says like, do you smoke? And you can put never, sometimes, regularly, or like often or whatever it is. And like so many people will put never, and then their bio will be like, I don't smoke cigarettes, but like I'm 420 friendly, and I'm like, just.
That was something too about that app.
Isn't there a weed option though? Are you sure? I thought there was a little pot leaf that you can.
Not.
I think that's. I think that is the smoking option.
Not when I went to update my profile somewhat recently. There was no pot option. It was just cigarette.
I remember I put I don't smoke, like at least in like that thing. I was like, I don't smoke, I barely drink, I don't do drugs.
Yeah, I was like no smoking.
I got Sonic, Pokemon, and Transformers to fucking fill that void, baby.
I put don't smoke.
Maybe I'm thinking of the drug
occasionally drink, and then like for the gym, it's like sometimes because I don't go consistently enough, but I'm trying, doing my best.
And that's all that matters.
It sucks out here. But yeah, like I heavily agree. Like the only time I'm able to like smoke anything is when I'm already drunk as hell, so it doesn't happen much, if at all. But like back in college, like yeah, I would be drinking with my brothers or whatever, and somebody would be like, "I'm gonna go out for a smoke," and I would just follow along with them because drunk
The
me,
drunk cigarette.
drunk me just likes to yeah,
Damn.
like drunk
Sound
lungs.
like a smoker.
I
Holy
was
hell.
gonna say when you're
Smoking 50 packs a day.
when you're drunk, the cigarettes don't actually affect you. That's the rule.
When I was in college, my first time going to college, I near the very end, somebody bad that I was hanging out with, who at the time I didn't know was a bad person,
Gasp.
um, was he would smoke the Black and Milds, right? Which I don't mind the smell of personally.
Mm.
And then eventually he started offering them to me. And so it became like a once a week, I'll just like smoke through one, like on my own. And then I just got to a point where I was like, I don't want to be doing this anymore and just stopped. So proud of that. I quit smoking.
Yeah, I smoked cigarettes when I was in high school, thinking I would be like a cool kid, and thankfully I was able to put it down pretty quickly.
I think it's one of those things where it's like easier when you're younger because you haven't been doing it for so long.
Mm.
I did it for I think like a year. I was smoking Newport hundreds, and that's all I would fucking smoke because everything else was awful.
Mm.
But funny enough, that's what my mom smokes too. But she,
Cringe, cringe. Number 9 ick, having a mother. Um the number 9 ick, if they never initiate uh if they never initiate any dates, meaning you constantly have to either organize them yourself or ask to be taken on a date. Romantic talks or like serious conversations. What the fuck is going on with my
Bitch, I think you need some water.
I have water. I have water and coffee. I'm very lubricated right now.
Clearly not. Your esophagus disagrees.
is that you're having the opposite problem? You're over lubricated. It's like a
I think I'm
you
over
know.
lubricated. I'm too wet. No. um but if they never initiate, so if they never initiate dates, if you're constantly asking to be taken on a date or organizing it yourself, any kind of serious or romantic conversation, you are the one that is constantly initiating that. And of course, this was one that was mainly on the men's side. This never came up on the women's side, but sex. If you are the one that is constantly initiating sex, like people do get sick of that. Um, and that's the number 9 ick. Never, the person never initiates ever.
Yeah, I definitely have had that problem just like on the dating apps and a couple times with some of my exes. But yeah, it's very much just that thing where it's just like, am I basically just fucking talking to myself, or is every message just inviting you to actually speak to me? Because like I've made it very clear that like you can shoot me a message whenever, and if I don't respond right away, I'm either working or sleeping, but I'll get to it when I can.
Right. Um, Thankfully, I haven't been too bad on any of these, both myself and like my experiences of dating and uh, sexual relations. But I have been known that when, as I have explained to both of you, I have a bit of a higher than average sex drive just naturally.
And that
And this
fucking
was
that
even
I'll say that fucking
before,
pre-workout was
I mean, this was before that. And this was even before I started working out. I was just like, it operating at a higher level. Um, and when I am unhappy in a relationship, I will immediately start like not having sex. And that is like the key teller to my past partners that I am not in a good mood. um so while it's never happened to me of being like, oh, I constantly have to initiate, and again operating at a higher drive, I don't really mind constantly initiating. It's when but I have been known to also be like, I'm gonna just stop initiating. and that's like the key uh telltale sign that something is wrong with me. Meg, you got anything to add? Agree? Disagree?
I mean, as far as like conversations and stuff go, I guess I get that. Like as far as like initiating like those talks, important talks, and making sure that like you're, I feel like it's got to be equal when people are doing like check-ins and stuff, because I also
Of course.
am big on that kind of thing of like, oh, like check in, like how are we doing? Are we still on the same page about things with these plans or with the steps that we're planning on taking in our life, and where our goals are and our values? And I think that those kind of regular check-ins can be really important to make sure that your communication is like still really good. So I think that that's important for both sides to initiate in like a romantic situation. Um but as far as dates and stuff, I guess that's really hard because I mean, that's so subjective because sometimes, especially like when you're dealing with a lot of people, like when I with friends and stuff, like there are certain people that um I tend to like take a back seat on requesting or like being like, "Oh, hey, do you want to hang out?" Because I know that a lot of the times they have problems with like overstimulation, or they have problems with things um like a social battery running out and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
if I, instead of asking them and making them feel bad about having to be like, "Oh no," and then being like, "Oh well, this next time I asked," and then like, "No, no," you know what I mean? I wait for them to initiate, and thankfully, this friend, like the people that I'm thinking about, they do frequently initiate themselves when they have the capacity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, so I usually try and take like a little um, backseat on that. So I do think that that part is kind of like subjective, because you're when you're dealing with other people's like social batteries and stuff, it's like, oh well, if I keep it, it's hard because like you just got to know the person a little bit. I guess early
Right. I guess
on,
I think
showing interest and engagement.
I guess I'm thinking of this one specifically as like you have known this person or been with this person for a little bit, and you are still the only one initiating all this. I
Mhm.
guess is where I'm looking at just this one specifically, because a lot of them are also like, if we were on a first date and they do this, then like no, you know. So I agree. It absolutely can be subjective.
No.
The number 8 ick, and this one came up a lot surprisingly, and it's if someone has Botox done or like any kind of plastic surgery or like aesthetic surgery, I guess, something like that. Um, and I guess because they're thinking of like, I don't know if you just heard the train, but it was really
Yeah.
loud. Because I guess they're thinking of like, or I guess how I'm thinking of it is like if somebody very clearly has plastic work done and it's like egregiously large,
Unnatural
small,
looking,
unnatural,
right?
yes. Meanwhile, like if somebody just got lip fillers and
Right. A lot of time you
it's
don't
like
really
just to make them
notice.
look a little bit more natural or a bit
Hmm.
more full, then it's like whatever.
You almost never notice a lot of like the more minor stuff unless you have like an eye for that kind of stuff. You know.
Yeah, and I mean
Um.
things like I know like women that have breast cancer, a lot of them get plastic surgery, Botox, or like the like little plastic fake boobies
Mhm.
because they want to feel like before, I guess.
I hate to go too crazy off topic, but it is a little bit on here, and it also relates to Reddit. But there was this Reddit story that I had heard, and it's like one of those "Am I the asshole?" stories. Um, but the person was like, "Am I the asshole for snapping at a coworker who was talking about my um like boob job?" And they were like accused of being an asshole because they had like a cancer problem, like they had like a medical issue, and meant that they had to like get a boob job done, and they were talking to their friend who happens to work for them, and I guess somebody like overheard, and then started like making jokes and like making nasty comments about them. And they lived in the UK, so then there was like comments about like, oh, I bet they did it on, like the um what is it? Is it the NHS? Is that what they have? Is that their I think is that
I do
I don't
not
know.
I
know.
have no idea.
It's their government, in medical insurance. Gosh, if only. Um but so there's that stuff, but she's like, I paid out of pocket, but it's not any of her business. And she's like, but I didn't throw it in her face for the longest time. Like, I wasn't like, I was just like, hey, this makes me uncomfortable. Please don't talk about this to me or to anybody else. Like, these comments, these jokes, like, she kept saying how uncomfortable it made her. And then finally one day, like at a lunch table, like this one made a comment and she snapped and was like, yeah, well, I had to do this because otherwise, if I didn't, I was gonna die, and it left terrible scars. So then I have like after getting a double mastectomy, I got fake breasts because I was through a horrible depression because I didn't like my body. I was having dysmorphia, and I paid for it all. She snapped at her, and then people were like, "Well, you didn't have to do that in front of everybody." And it's like, motherfucker, she said, "Stop it! It's none of your
Yeah.
business what I do with my body." And anyways, it just that's what it reminded me of. And I'm like, you never know why people are doing things. And so I hate to like judge about those sorts of things. And while I may not be attracted to that kind of stuff, where like it might be something that like puts me off, where I'm like, oh, like that's a very obvious like plastic surgery was done or something like that. Like, go be happy in your own body. Like, do you? Like, I don't know. I feel like some people get hyper judgmental, like personally. Like, some people like they don't like associating with those kinds of people at all, which is crazy. Like in a romantic sense, I get it. Like if you're not physically attracted to that, but some
Hmm.
people are like, ugh, that person's so plastic and fake. They must be like vain, or they like ascribe a mentality to it that
And
may not
this was one with exactly what you just said there at the end. This was one that showed up a lot more on the men's side than the women's side of like if they have, Botox, plastic surgery done, whatever. And again, that's kind of why I was going like, well, they're probably thinking of like the egregious look of like an unnatural, thing. It did come up on the women's side a couple times of uh just being like if they get like any kind of like plastic fillers or whatever, which I am kind of in the same boat of you of being like, well, you don't know why they did it. If they just
right,
want to do it to just be happy in their body, like let them fucking do it. It's
right.
you don't have to be attracted to every single person in the fucking world. You're not going to be. Not everybody's going to fit what you find attractive. Not everybody's going to fit your type. So it's like if somebody isn't your type, don't be fucking mad that they're not your type. I don't know like what to I don't know, I guess how else to
And I also
describe that.
again ascribing like personality characteristics based on just like an assessment of what you see physically.
It's shallow.
I hate that mentality of being like, and it's even hard for me, like as like I get fucking problems because I was bullied by like blonde hair, blue eyed fucking white girls, and now every time I see one I'm like, huh, and I'm like, wait, no, let's not assume that this person's a bitch just because she's got blonde hair, like like but I'm aware of that, and I'm like something that I work on and try and be mindful of. But I feel like it's very similar to like someone being like, oh well, you've got fake boobs, so you must be like a fake vain person. And
Right.
I
Yeah,
don't get
fake
that.
boobs, you must be a whore.
Right.
It's true.
Colin? Okay, I was just gonna say, Colin, do you agree?
He sure does.
um, Number 7, if they have no hobbies, and I gotta
Yeah,
agree, this
dude.
is in fact an ick.
If I ask you what you like to do and you're just like, oh, I don't really do anything, I'm like, okay, have a nice day. Take care. Goodbye.
Yep.
I was like, we don't have to like the
Exact
same
same.
things, but you have to enjoy something.
I'm exact same. If
As somebody who cannot stand small talk in the slightest, if your day-to-day conversation is just my day's going all right. Like, this is what I did. How's your day going? And I'm like, oh, it's all right. Like, this is what I've been doing today. Like, got any fun plans tonight? And they're like, no, I'm just gonna hang out. And it's like, okay. I was like,
It
you gonna
tells
do
me,
anything while you're just sitting at home, or
yep.
like,
It tells me all you do is sit on your phone,
right?
which is also an ick that's gonna come up soon. But um if somebody says they have no hobbies, like all they do is just sit on their phone and smoke weed, I'm not I'm not attracted to that. You gotta have something that you do that, like, I don't know how to describe it, I guess. Something that you do that you can, like,
Right.
talk about, that you can be at least kind of passionate about,
I don't know
because
if
that's what I
it's yeah,
like.
I don't know if it's mentioned anywhere in the ick list, but if you make smoking weed your personality, go fall
Ick.
into traffic.
Ick. You can smoke weed,
Yeah,
that's fine.
smoke
But if
all
it's all you
yeah.
do and it's your whole personality, ick.
Yeah, like if I change the topic from like, hey, I don't really want to talk about stuff that we do when we're high or when we've smoked weed in the past, and you suddenly stop participating in the conversation, you're not a person. Like, you're not real.
You're not
Like,
real.
get there. Like, I would highly recommend like going to rehab and finding out like what you are as a person without weed in your body, please.
Thoughts, Meg?
Um, I mean, not really. I don't have any hobbies or
Oh,
thoughts or
Meg's off the
anything.
team. Goodbye.
The ick.
Yeah, no, I get that. I hesitate to, cuz I mean, I guess I don't know. I don't like to be too critical of things cuz I guess it's like hobbies, like define hobbies, like something to do in your spare
It's just
time.
something that like you're interested in that you enjoy doing.
Like, I would count if somebody is like, I just really like to watch movies. I count that as a hobby. Like, they're in their hobby, in their pastime.
We're not sitting here saying like you have to be a professional artisanal wood carver.
Yeah, like, okay,
No, I
so
was
a
also
mutual hobby
thinking.
for us would be like card games. That's literally, we met at TCG Player. We met at a place that sells card games, right? So somewhere, and I know we've all played a card game together, right?
Mhm.
So I would say, as a hobby, like for us, just as an example, card games, because it brought us together.
But um yeah, I was thinking more stuff like um what I meant was like things that you might do like in your spare time, but like there are people out there who are really driven in their careers and in their lives, and so if they don't do a lot outside of work, I try not like.
Well, that's what I said earlier, is like, you have to be, at least, I guess, to me, what a hobby is like something that you are passionate about. So it's like, if you're very passionate about your career and like that is generally like what you like to do, I would consider that kind of a hobby, because it is something that you are passionate about and you can talk to me about, because it's like, if I were to go on a date with somebody and I asked what's your hobby and they just talked about like their work, I would just assume that their work is their hobby and that they like it, right? Great.
Mhm.
Excellent. I can have a conversation about that. If I go on a date with somebody and I go, "Hey, what do you like to do?" and they just go, "Not much. Nothing really. I just hang out." I'm like,
Chill. Got a lot to cut out from Colin. God
"Oh
damn.
yeah." Lots of static coming from
It's
Collins
great.
end. I
Sorry
don't know
guys, there's something
what's
wrong with
going
my
on.
mic or something, I guess. Next
But yeah,
podcast
number
episode, stay tuned. I will bring a list of people I hate and I will read them first and
fuck you.
last,
Fuck
and I'll
you.
give you their
Fuck
address
you.
if I have it.
That's funny.
Whole episode is just one long like fucking censor beep. There's the intro, big beep, and then it's just like, thanks for listening, guys. I'll see you next week. Hopefully the rest of the gang is back. And everybody's like, wow, don't ever let that man record by himself again.
Honestly, straight up, I would listen to that episode, beeps and all.
What you do is you beep everything but you're swearing.
That's what I was just
beep
thinking. Like,
everything out except the swearing, and then me
Beep,
explaining,
motherfucking
and
bullshit.
then yeah,
Fucking
me
beep.
explaining why I hate the person, but just bleep out who I'm talking about every single time, so it just sounds like I'm going on some like insane schizo rant, or I'm just like, and then she fucking kicked my dog, beep 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 beep, and then my mom showed up, beep 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 beep, and it's just like, what the fuck is happening?
so yeah, number 7, having no hobbies.
Speaking of schizo rants,
Jesus Christ.
I'm so sorry. So, neither of you guys listened to the elder abuse podcast episode?
I did.
You
On
did?
Spotify,
You
yeah.
didn't? Did you comment on the shit that I added in? Did we talk about that?
No, I just
We can off camera.
oh,
Unless you want to edit this
Meg's
out.
getting fired.
Yeah, I was just gonna edit it out.
Oh, okay.
We can't off camera fucking
Meg's
mess.
Well, I was just
fired.
like, I mean, I guess if you're editing a lot from Colin, then it's like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know why you'd have to edit anything from me. Perfectly reasonable things that I've been saying.
Okay, so back to Icks, real quick. So
real quick for the next 35 minutes.
So number 7 was is having no hobbies. Number 6, unfounded jealousy, being jealous of for really no reason. Which
Is that like just on the grounds of like you're not even dating yet, but this person's jealous when you're talking to other people, or
I couldn't find anyone that was being very specific about like if this happens when they're together or not, but a lot of people were saying it's like if they're trying to make you jealous. So it's like if maybe you're not dating yet, but you've been talking for a while, and then this person is like, "Oh yeah, I've also been going on dates with this other person," like, and is just trying to make you jealous.
yeah, nothing kicks off a relationship or keeps one stronger than trying to like force emotional reactions out of your partner or prospective
Oh,
partner. It's so healthy. Also, test your
mm-hmm.
partners constantly. Be like,
Oh, dude, they
I
gotta
just
make
wanted to
sure.
see if you were cheating on me. It's like, that's super healthy. It's very good for the relationship.
Yeah. Gotta make sure you love me.
Yeah, if somebody was like trying to make me jealous, I'd be like, oh, that's really cool. You should probably keep messaging them and then just block them.
And then you should keep messaging them.
I've been going on a lot of
Keep
dates
me
with
updated.
other people. Cool. Okay, take care. Bye.
If I'm I'll tell somebody early in the relationship, especially like the talking stage. It's like, hey, just so you know, like I am, going on dates with other people, especially if it's with somebody that I can see myself
Right.
kind of
Like if
dating or
we're
talking to for
yeah, like
longer.
if we're dating, then for sure. But like if we're just talking, it's kind of like I like it. Yeah, like go on whatever dates you want, but like don't fucking come back and constantly tell me about it.
Oh
Like
yeah,
we're not
absolutely not.
together, so like I don't expect you to only go on dates with me, but like I also don't expect you to be like, I went on a date with a guy named Steve the other day, and his date was way better than yours. I was like, okay, great.
Yeah, he's way
Sounds
cooler.
like
Like that's fucked
yeah,
up.
like sounds like you should just go fucking hook up with Steve then. Like I don't know what you want from me.
Meg, you got anything to add?
On this one, not really, to be honest. This one I don't really.
All right, so yeah, unfounded jealousy.
That's
I
crazy.
mean,
Yeah.
I feel like everybody kind of agrees.
Yeah, as we discussed it
Yeah.
more, I was like, yeah, the way this sounds like shit. Fuck you.
And kind of in that same vein, and the only reason I included it was a lot of people didn't say about like the feeling of making them jealous or trying to make them jealous or anything like that. This is number 5. If they talk about exes constantly, and it's tied with talking about old like man whore, slut, whatever you want to call it, phases that they went through. So it's like if all they do is talk about past relationships, and or just like old hookups that they had.
For me, I feel like
That's an ick.
for me, I feel like it's an important conversation to have because like I've been cheated on so many times that like I have to be very upfront. Like, hey, if any of this starts feeling like it's like whatever has happened before, like I'm gonna get very uncomfortable and I'm probably going to try and like leave. Like I'm not dealing with this again. But if it just keeps getting brought up, I can definitely see how that would cause an issue. But like with me on
Yeah,
my end, it's not like I'm talking like just like, oh, like this ex of mine. Like it's always just like, this is what this ex did, and this is why I hate this thing.
which is
Yeah.
valid.
I guess I was thinking, like, is it super common for people to, like, I guess, talk about.
It is actually crazy common for people to not only constantly bring up or like constantly shit talk their old their old exes and relationships, which that to me is a red flag. If
Oh,
every
yeah.
single past relationship is bad, there's one common denominator and it's you, bitch. So fucking is it really everybody or is it possibly you?
No.
Which to me is a red flag and an ick. And I mean, I personally don't mind if somebody is like, "Oh, I had this like old horror phase or whatever," because bitch, I did too. And that's also like one of that time period is like when so much shit was happening to me just all at once constantly due to mental illness and also just being around horrendous people. Um so that is a time in my life that I do talk about a lot. Um just because
Right.
again a lot was happening to me and I was going through a lot of changes, so I guess to me it doesn't bother me because as I was being a whore and slutting myself out, I was also going out a lot and doing a lot of cool and fun things and like having a lot of experiences, so
Yeah, I think
it's
that the only time that it would bother me personally, I think, is if it was like a lot of comparisons to ex relationships. If someone
mm,
was like,
like you're doing this thing my this old ex did.
right, or you're not doing this thing that an old partner did, and it's like, well, we can have a conversation about that. But if you're constantly trying to kind of push one way or another, like if you're constantly comparing me to somebody else, like I feel like that becomes a problem.
Absolutely.
Um,
It's like then
but
why
like
don't
you
you
said,
just
like
go
it's
get
a.
with that person.
Right, like if you want me to be more like that person, or if you want me to be so much like, or if these behaviors or traits of mine that we've had a conversation about, and I guess it depends on like the outcome of that conversation. If it's like, oh, I can understand that this is like a boundary of yours or like a need, in how we communicate with each other or something like that. Like I guess I can understand from there if you need to be kind of, but you shouldn't be bringing it up so much in relation to the ex. You can say in the first conversation, like, hey, you're doing this thing, and I noticed when I was in a previous relationship that this situation really bothered me and it really kind of built up over time, or like this situation bothers me for this reason. And once we have that conversation, I feel like people don't change overnight, of course. Like sometimes people have to like adjust to things. If it's something that's a habit that they're doing, it takes time. So instead of being like, you're doing that same thing that my ex is doing again, you're doing the same thing that my ex was doing again, instead be like, hey, I know when we talked about this, you said that you were going to work on this. And don't bring it up in relation to a past relationship, bring it up in relation to our conversation. You know what I mean? So that way you're not constantly bringing up that former relationship. You're bringing up, hey, we had a conversation about this and we had this understanding and agreement, and this is how I'm feeling about that. And I think that that's just a better way to communicate overall. So but if you're just like constantly like bringing up stories and talking about stuff, unless it's like, oh hey, I'm meeting their new friends, or like we're hanging out with people and somebody brings up a story and you're like, oh, this is something that so and so did, and now I'm glad that this person that I'm with now doesn't do that shitty thing. Or like, sometimes stuff comes up and I don't feel like I would be insecure or uncomfortable in them just bringing up their exes in those kinds of situations. It's just like, it's so subjective because it's like how often, in what context, in
Right,
what
right.
situation.
And it's like you said, like you and Colin both said, I think talking about your exes and past relationships should be a conversation like in the beginning of a relationship,
Hmm.
kind of no matter what, of being like, what did you experience? But also like what did you like that I can do either the same or better, to be to bring something new to the table,
Right.
right?
Like if you want to talk about
Because that
just
way it's
like
like
stuff that happened, that's great. But if you come up to me and be like, I liked it when my ex fucking bounced on it crazy style, I'm probably We're gonna have to have a different conversation after that because that's crazy.
Be like, thought I was going
Yeah, I
fucking
thought I was
crazy on it. What
bouncing
the
on
hell
the
are you
crazy
talking
side.
about?
What the fuck, man?
Yeah,
That
don't.
would be nuts.
That's the thing. Don't say in relation to an ex. You just say like, "Hey, I really like it when it gets bounced out crazy
Exactly. I
style."
think it is. I think
Yeah,
phrasing is the key here, because if you're just saying constantly like my ex did this, my ex did this, my ex did this, and I liked it or whatever, and I hated it, then it's a problem. But if you're going, hey, I really like when people do this, great, I'm cool with
Yeah.
that. Or like, hey, I don't like when people do this, also
I liked it when
awesome.
my
Please
ex
don't
put
compare me
jumper
to your
cables on my
exes.
nipples and then bit my
Right.
wiener, and it's like, I don't call the police.
I would break up. I'd be like, that's freaky. I gotta
I'd be
go.
like,
That's
listen. I'd be
too.
like, listen.
I can't match
Yeah,
that
like, listen.
freak.
Everybody's got their thing. That was, you were tortured. That's a crime. What that person did to you was trying to extract information from you.
Clearly, you were in an ex
Yeah, did
relationship with
you?
the
Yeah,
FBI.
like,
I gotta go.
was your ex
Come on,
fucking
guys. Let's not be
Batman?
too judgmental. Let's be sex positive here.
Was your ex
If people
Batman? Were you
like some
trying to?
freaky shit, like let them like their freaky
Were
shit.
you
We're not gonna be
working?
sex
Were
positive
you working for
because
the Joker and he needed to know where he put the bombs?
we're not gonna be sex positive because number
Oh
4
no!
is porn addiction and phone
Ugh.
addiction. They're kind of the same
I think
vein
addiction
of
in
like what
general
they
to
were
anything,
brought up
gaming
with.
addiction, phone addiction, porn addiction, like again, like any kind of addiction, I feel like is a problem in a relationship. I'm coming out hard on this topic because I mean, like you said, if your entire personality is sedating yourself with weed, that's an addiction. And they say like, "Oh, weed's not addictive." It fucking is. It is
It's
addictive.
exactly what Colin said.
It's
If you're not
not an
addicted, then go get off
extreme.
of
Yeah,
it.
go
Right. It's not an
stop.
extreme addiction. It's not something that's extremely
Yeah, like, you're
addictive,
not going
and
to
it's
be
not something
stripping
that's usually
catalytic converters to buy more weed, but
right. But it's an addiction. But I'm technically physically addicted to my medication. If I stop taking it, I feel sick. I like it's not outside of the sickness that is caused that the medication treats, but I get sicker because I'm not taking that medication. The body gets adjusted to things. You can get addicted to food, to drugs, to your phone, to sex, to so many different things. And I think addiction I mean, video games, again, that's a big addiction problem. You hear these, like, again, Reddit stories and stuff where people are in relationships and they're like, my partner will not do anything but game, and it's
Mhm.
like, hey, you know what? As someone who games a fuck ton and is in a way, I use video games as like a way to self medicate instead of fucking smoking weed to detach and to decompress and to fucking
Hell yeah, I chose the more expensive
disassociate from
hobby.
life. Arguably depends. Weed is
I mean, how much
not.
did you spend on your computer setup?
Not as much as I've spent on weed.
Yeah, you know
I'll tell
what?
you
Then that's
that.
fair.
I'll tell you that. I smoked so I self-medicated with weed for a while when I was at a previous job because I was so unhappy with my life and my situation that it was the only thing that I could do. I needed to completely disassociate. I couldn't fucking game without fucking smoking weed. Like, gaming was not enough to disassociate far enough from my mental health problem. So I smoked weed and I was fucking I mean I wasn't even nearly at what some people, I mean, I know people who smoke from morning to fucking night. But I was going through, I mean, think about it. I mean, probably $150 every 3 weeks. So it fucking adds up. It adds up. $150 every 3
the
weeks.
wildest part is that I know people who go through $150 in 1 week.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that's exactly it though, because like it can be a lot. Like, I know people, like I said, they're rolling fucking 1 gram fucking blunts every fucking as
Oh yeah,
soon
I
as
know
it's
people that are doing
fucking
it like as soon as
out.
they get home
Yeah.
or as soon as they wake up. Like
Yeah,
they can't
yeah.
like function
Some
without it.
people some people will
But
smoke and have to do it at work.
the
Like, they have
only
to be high
reason
at
I
work.
didn't just say addiction was because nobody, again, this is another thing of like the smoking thing, is that like nobody specified weed.
Yeah.
People were really only saying like if I constantly see you on your phone. And again, it could just kind of go back to like the having no
Babe,
hobbies.
you
Like
don't
all you do is sit on
understand.
your
I'm not
phone.
just like on social media. I'm playing old school RuneScape on my
I'm
phone.
watching bitches bounce it crazy style and wishing that you would do that.
Now that's the other thing though, is like even like playing video games on your phone. If what you're doing on your phone constantly is video games, then like at first you could be like, yeah, this is a hobby, but if it goes for too long, then you're back in addiction territory where it's like,
Yeah. It needs it's one of those things that need to be checked. And again, especially something that does bring you that kind of like dopamine hit that like porn does and your phone does, and now gaming, as they have like there's literally like studies done to be like, okay, how do we make our game more addictive to the people playing it,
and,
which is insane.
and Marvel Rivals.
um but yeah, no, but that's the thing is like addiction is so is absolutely an ick, because like I mean it replaces all the things in your life. I mean it
But if
comes
you're out
back
here
to,
flicking the bean or cranking your peanut too much, it's gonna have a negative effect on your relationship, guys. It's a serious issue.
It is. I mean, have you seen that like with how prevalent porn is just in society in general, like lots of younger men, I'm talking like 16 to like 26, like at that 10-year
Mm.
range, lots of these young men have erectile dysfunction because they started consuming porn at such a young age and were cranking their hog just consistently,
Hmm.
that they like can't get it
I
up
mean, like you and
anymore.
I talked about this the other day, but like when you mentioned that like video games are trying to make themselves more addicting, like Marvel Rivals, literally, it's basically just softcore porn.
True, gooner bait.
hey. As
You
someone
can't
who's
even
still
deny
playing
it.
Marvel Rivals, you're right. I was literally like in a chat with people, and I was like joking around about stuff, and I said I'm not a furry, but because I'm on Squirrel Girl, right? And he's like, don't finish that sentence. I'm like, no, hear me out.
Do you see what this game is doing to your
Yeah.
mind?
By the way, podcast topic suggested by someone who's never listened to our podcast, but hopefully will start soon. Hear me out episode.
We could do a hear me out episode. I'm
Right?
down for that. I got some
Interesting.
fucking wild hear me
At
outs.
some
I
I
point,
said,
if
think
y'all are
there's
this
ever
is
an
fucking
great.
episode where you guys both can't
gooners.
make it, my
So
solo episode is just going to be because like I keep referencing and we keep talking about how like I'm the one of the three of us that's done drugs. That's probably just going to be something I do as like a solo episode because like
I'd tune the fuck
almost
in.
every episode we do, it's always just like, oh, I like have a similar experience with this from when I was doing drugs before, and you guys are like, oh, what have you done? And I was like, it's too much.
Boofing.
I smoked weed. I've smoked weed.
I've
I
smoked
really did
weed, I've
drugs.
done acid, I've done shrooms, I've done
Shit
coke, or
scares me.
yeah, I've done coke.
I know for a fact that I can't do like psychedelics or anything that's gonna affect that shit, because my brain's on a bad trip all the time
They're
anyways.
tricky.
But
So, do you guys want to hear number 3? Now that
Yes.
we're in the top 3,
I didn't get to finish my one thing
you
really
can
quickly.
okay, finish your one thing.
The hear me out thing. Because I was like, hear me out, and then I got distracted by that. But I've never said, my whole thing with Squirrel Girl is like, I'm not a furry, but. And he said, don't finish that sentence. You might even want to finish that sentence. I said, I do, because I'm not a furry, but I've never said the sentence before, I'm not a furry, but. And that's how you know Squirrel Girl's got something going on. Because, like, I've never had to say that before until Squirrel Girl came along. So I'm like, I don't know. I like thick thighs,
Guys,
though,
donate
so
$5 to
Marvel
Katana
Rivals has
Fish
my
so we
fucking
can
number.
help end porn addiction.
How are we
we
gonna
can
do
help
that?
end gooning.
Because we're just gonna keep, if they donate money to us, we're gonna keep being able to make more content.
If we put more cornflakes out, baby people will stop masturbating.
Yep.
If we
Just
make
the
cornflakes
unfrosted
seem
kind.
more
Can't have the sugar.
If we
appealing.
keep making brain rotted content, they just won't think about jorking their penars.
Okay.
So
Exactly.
donate
Yeah,
to
as you
us,
say, do it grip about the aliens. That's gonna make them not
dude.
think about jorking their
And we
penars
talk
when you
about
say
sex
do it grip.
robots.
Right, right. You guys are constantly talking about gooner
Hey Meg, I'm
topics.
trying to get us that bag. So how about you just be a team player for a few minutes?
So number 3, we're in the top 3 here. Would you guys like to take a guess as to what number 3
Being a
is?
feminist.
I
You can't even begin to narrow it
No,
down?
I don't understand human brains. I'm not a human, fun fact, and so I cannot fathom the thought processes other humans
Meg
have.
sex robot confirmed. So number 3 is being a bad communicator.
Oh, that's fair.
If somebody has very poor communication, and from what I gathered, just kind of across the board. So it's like if they are a bad communicator face to face, if they're a bad communicator over the phone, bad communicator like they have issues at work because of it, literally just all across the board, can't seem to kind of get it together in any sort of way, is an ick. And I want to agree, but at the same time I do understand that this can be a mental illness thing. However, I will say that if somebody's mental illness is just consistently getting in the way of them forming relationships, both friendships, dating, it's giving them issues at work, like the whole thing, and they're not taking the steps to fix it, and they're just blaming it on their mental illness, like they're not in therapy, they're not on medication, they're literally just not taking these steps to try and help. That's not just an ick, that's like a full stop to me. There was somebody, not to name names, it's somebody that the reason we started our little group chat,
Mhm.
how they constantly would just blame their issues and problems on their mental illness, and then
There's also
expect that to just be the
yeah,
past,
there's
and them to
also a
just be like,
difference
get away
between
with it,
being bad at communicating
and
and
being an asshole.
communicating just in the wrong way. Like not talking is a problem. Talking too much and being an abhorrent cunt about everything you talk about, two sides of the same coin.
I'm sorry, I'm an abhorrent cunt. Uh, It's rough. That's really rough, but thank you for your honesty.
Like it is wild that this podcast came together because we all hated her so much that the three of us just became great friends.
Nothing brings people together more than if you hate the same
Kendrick
thing.
and
You can
Drake
all,
levels of beef have united so many people.
yes.
I was just gonna say, like, on that, like, I feel like I held out the longest, and yet was the most, like, egregiously attacked by that person a lot of the times
Because you held out
Because
so
you
long.
just kept being like
because
nice
I
and being like, "Oh, it's okay." And Lara and I immediately were like, "Hey, you're being a bitch." And she was like,
I
"Well,
mean, I called her out in front of like a whole group of
I did
people.
it on the fucking Discord twice."
but I think it's because I want to give people that opportunity to change. Like, if I've communicated with them, like, hey, these are problems that we're having, and they're like, oh, okay, well, this is like the reason that I maybe respond this way, or maybe I communicate this way. And if I felt like, okay, well, we've both been hurt in this situation, let's give them another chance going forward to see how they handle things. And I like giving multiple chances in that situation because it takes time for people to change. It takes time for people to adjust to things. And so I want to keep giving that, but I don't think that people can change and adjust away from malice in that way.
Yes.
You get one chance. I will inform you that I did not like what you did. No, don't do that again. You do it again, then I either gotta like really want to give this friendship a chance, or you've got to like show that you are actually working on it. And if you break that second chance, I am just cutting all time. I do not care.
I'm in the same boat as Meg, as I give one too many chances, and we'll keep it going.
Like I'm that
Because
guy in
again,
all of
I
I
think it's
the
so
I'm that guy in
subjective,
like all
though.
the am
yeah.
I the asshole posts on Reddit where like my first reaction is like, oh, this person like wronged me. I'm like, cool, cut him off, never talk to him again, leave, improve your life.
And that's also my response, but then I also don't follow it. So
Anytime somebody's just like, this person's kind of like being a bitch to me, and I'm just like if I see the context and I think it's bad enough, I'm like, cool, just block them, fuck them, who cares, ignore that person, they're not real anymore, they're a figment.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just it's hard and it's subjective because it's like, well, how far is like
Your
too
boy keeps
far?
them
What's
scissors
too
on him.
egregious? People have bad days. People might snap. I mean, I've gotten frustrated about things and said something in a way probably that sounded really shitty to somebody at the time, and I don't want to judge people off of those smaller things. Plus, I don't know, I really like trying to, like, I don't know, understand people because that's the thing is, like, I feel like I go through misunderstood a lot, like, not understood by a lot of people. Like, I feel like I personally am, like, so disconnected from people a lot of the times. Like, there's, like, a fucking I once described it in writing, like, you know when, like, you have, like, refraction underwater where you're almost lined up with something, but you're not quite? I feel like that's how it is a lot of the time. So, like, when I personally, like, am trying to reach out to understand people, like, I wanna give people the ability to, like, be understood. And also, like I said, that ability to, like, change and grow and adjust because I've changed so much over my life that I know people can change, that people can make improvements and stuff. I mean, you guys would not have fucking you guys would barely fucking recognize who I was. I mean, I've said it a million times, I feel like, but I mean, just the person that I was just so different. So, like, I like giving people that opportunity and being open to that kind of thing.
Mhm.
And I would rather personally go through, like, I've got a threshold, of course, but I'd rather go through, like, a level of, like, strife and frustration and pain myself than change who I am as a person of being, like, open and accepting of other people, if that makes sense. You know what I
Makes
mean?
sense to me. Um,
But there's,
are
like, a
we
threshold.
right? Are we ready for number 2?
Hell yeah.
You're
Would you guys like to guess
is
this
this
one
one
as well?
feminist?
Hint: none of
I was
them are
gonna say like I
feminism
just
or have to do with being
I
a
was oh
woman.
okay I was like you went through Reddit so like I have to assume that somewhere in this
I had to
list
cut those
I
ones
assume
out.
that
I
I
had
assume
to.
somewhere in there there's just me a guy like I hate women who like their rights.
Again, this list I had to exclude. If I did genuinely include every single
Oh God,
answer and like collectively, um
there would have been no discussion. It would
I
have just
think
been Lara's list of Reddit icks.
yeah, the first like 6 or so, so like from like 10 to 6 would literally just be traits of being a woman.
Mm,
Just full stop. I mean, and then one would just be like traits of being a man. Like one would be just traits of being a man, but I had to cut those out because again, it's fucking Reddit
yeah.
and I was also not going to have any sort of like misogyny on this fucking thing.
Actual
um
guess. We're doing number two. It's
Number
got to
2.
be hygiene based. Got to be you can't be stinky. Can't be a
That's
smelly person.
that's one of my biggest icks.
I'll listen, I'll give that to you because that's number
Ah,
1. But
damn.
number 2 is being rude to
Oh,
waiters,
Just
I
servers.
literally
rudeness,
put
yeah.
that in
Yeah,
the
just
app.
kind of
I
general
literally put that in the
rudeness.
app you sent us. I was like, if you are rude to wait staff, I'm leaving. Like, I'm not paying for your dinner. I'm paying for my part. I'm going home. Don't ever talk to me
A
again.
lot of a lot of people on these Reddit threads shared stories of like their first date with somebody and that person being rude not only to the like either to the wait staff, to like somebody who was just getting like their movie tickets,
Right.
if they were taking a really long time, could be a system issue, could be literally first day on the job, like if they're being rude to them, or if they're being rude like to the person that's on the date with them, like negging them, being like, well, you're pretty for a fat girl or something like that, right? Like it's things like that that are just like,
If you're
why
rude to
why would
wait
you
if you're
ever?
rude to wait staff or people who are just doing their job, I'm gonna come right out and say it. This isn't controversial. This isn't brave. If you're rude to people who are doing nothing wrong, you need to be tied to a tree and beaten until the sun sets.
That we need to bring back those things of where people are their hands and head are locked into the thing, you know
Yeah,
what I'm talking about?
Yes,
stockades.
I
Yes.
know exactly what you're
And
talking
so we
about.
can pelt them with rotten
Oh,
food and stones and bricks and axes.
Axis. Yeah, if they're egregious ones. But no, that general rudeness. I mean, Lara, Colin, we haven't really hung out in person too, like
No, I now
outside of
live
like
across
work.
the
Like you
country.
left, right? But Laura
Tragically.
and I have hung out a couple times. You'll see me. I'll fucking talk to anybody. Like I'll treat them like a human being behind the fucking ticket booth at the movie theater, or
I
you
was gonna
know.
say, I mean, we just saw a Minecraft movie, fucking 10 out of 10 movie, by the way. And I bought some comic books beforehand. And the guy behind the counter, he was like, "Oh my god, I love those comic books." And we were kind of having a little back and forth about it. So it's like I try to either be just generally respectful to them, or to like that guy, I'm sure I was the highlight of his day,
Yeah, I got
right?
to talk about Transformers, and clearly he fucking
Yeah.
loved Transformers.
He was probably dying to talk to fucking somebody about those comics, because
Yeah.
I mean, I was like two people away and he was like, "I love those books."
Yeah, I mean, and then the guy in the theater, with everything going on with the Minecraft movie and people freaking the fuck out and throwing shit, I asked him, I was like, has anybody been terrible? Like, we were really good, and, like, nobody in the theater that we went to was going psycho, but I asked him, I was like, has anybody, like, been crazy in here? And he's like, no, we've been really lucky, like, we didn't have that. Um, and so,
Didn't you say somebody ripped a chair out though?
yeah, yeah, yeah. The chicken jockey. What I'm thinking happened is that they probably like pushed, like, grabbed the chair in front of them and like chicken jockey, and then just fucking
Oh
ripped
yeah, it
that
was
thing
probably
right
like
out the town.
loose from five other movie things, and then
Right,
that
right.
one
Well, and
person just
especially
was
those older
unfortunate.
theaters, they've been around for what, 20 fucking years, and are old as
Yeah.
I
fuck.
just love the
I
meme somebody posted where it's like Jack Black says chicken jockey, and it cuts to like footage from video games of like fucking suicide bombers in a cutscene. And it's just like
But
the
like,
caption is the
yeah.
8-year-old kid in front of me, and it's just like this guy running up and he just like rips open his vest and explodes.
Well, people were being psychos about it, which, like, chicken jockey wasn't even the funniest part of that fucking movie. That wasn't
Dude, it
that
wasn't even
interesting.
top 10 funniest.
Yeah, there's fuck that movie. Fucking
Um
first 10 minutes of that movie, dog shit. I was like, oh no, what are we doing? And then it immediately fucking Jason
skyrocketed.
Momoa just shoving his hands through tinfoil to rip it open instead of just opening it like a normal human being and being like, dinner done, breakfast pizza,
I've
Hot garbage tip.
I've
hot
said it
garbage dip.
before and I'll say it again. Like Jack Black alone, like in the past like 5 years, any movie he's been in has somehow been gold.
But I think it's because it's Jack Black. He's just a fucking
And then like
fantastic
yeah,
dude, and
seeing
I think
seeing
he
like
brings so
Jason
much of
Momoa
himself
like
to it.
side by side with Jack Black, I was like, you guys need to like do a fucking like crazy
They
buddy
need to
cop
do they
detective
need to
movie.
be I was gonna say they need to be the next like Step
Yeah,
Brothers
like you
movie.
guys.
Like their on-screen chemistry was
Oh my
incredible.
god, it was so
Oh,
good. Oh my god,
Um
it was so.
but yeah, so general
yeah,
rudeness, but a lot of people specified to waiters and servers and like public workers, that kind of thing, which
Speaking of which,
100% agree.
really quick, want to tack this on there. Somebody, so I messaged someone and I was like, oh man, I had like a weird, funny, specific ick that I was gonna do for this thing, but I didn't write it down, just like I told you, Lara. But I messaged that to somebody, and she was like, oh, I've got like a weird, specific one though. And it was when people like just like walk through a door and don't pay attention to like the person behind them, and like kind of do like that thing where you kind of hold open the door a little bit until they touch it. You know what I mean? Where they just like they just keep going and they just let the door kind of like swing closed on you. And they're just that kind of
Mm,
person that's just, and I was like, that's kind of like the level of rudeness where you just don't, like you're not being aware. And I'm like, I struggle and I get anxious sometimes because like I don't turn my head enough sometimes to see the person behind me.
I do that to a couple people at work because they specifically piss me off.
Okay, I feel like that's different.
yeah.
I
Like
feel like that's a
if you're a
choice.
complete stranger and you let a door close in front of me, I hope your legs are strong, because I'm about to sweep them.
They may not know that I am mad at them because I'm just so isolated at work, but
Right.
that's my way of letting them know, you pissed me the fuck off. I'm not even going to open the door for you to the break room.
Basically,
Fuck
Lara's
you.
equivalent of not initiating sex with partners.
I,
Fuck you. You don't
honestly,
know, but I'm
if I'm not
fucking mad.
if I'm not I open the door, I hold the door open for people that I know don't like me, or have heard things about me that they believe are
Yeah.
horrible things, because you guys know the weird shit that's been going on at my work. But I will, if you generally like me or have no kind of thoughts about me, but I fucking hate you, I'm not holding the door open for you. I
Let
don't
that
give a
shit
shit.
close.
Yeah. I don't
But
care about being a cunt. And that, brings us to
Hygiene.
our honorable
Oh
mention,
no.
Oh.
because this could have been number one, but number one was just brought up so much more, and I kind of wanted to include as much as I could here. Um, honorable mention, negativity. A lot of people were like, if somebody is just a negative person or like can't hold a conversation without talking shit about somebody or
Will
something, like
Meg
if
edit out the
every
name twice if I say it?
but being a negative person, being a negative Nancy, a lot of
Or a
people said
negative
that that
Nicholas?
is an ick, a negative Dickolas, Ayo. Which honestly, yeah, gotta
Yeah,
agree. If every
that's
single day is a bad day, every day is a bad experience, I'm
it's
sorry,
just
I
like you
can't.
mentioned earlier. It's like, hey, all the things they're complaining about, they got one common denominator, and that's that you were there. So
Like combine all that with the mental illness of whatever somebody is experiencing. It can be really hard to be a positive person nowadays. Like very, very hard. However, I think this kind of goes hand in hand with the no hobbies thing, because it's like if you can't find something to take yourself away from that in
Yeah.
any capacity, like it's gonna be hard for you,
Yeah.
you know. So I mean, that's how I feel, because it's like right now, dude, what got me into Transformers was I watched Transformers 1 last year, and I was like, this is the fucking greatest movie I think I've ever seen in my life. And now every time I interact with Transformers, it's like a fucking hit of crack to my brain.
Right, and that's the thing is like finding like interesting and fun things to like, and that's why I like our one chat where I mean we have it in our Discord chat too, but I feel like our Facebook chat has been the focus for like a lot of like the fun videos and shit, and almost all that shit is just like silly, goofy, fun stuff. I mean, on occasion there's something a little bit more like introspective or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like the shit that we see that we're like, this is funny or gives us dopamine. And I really like having that kind of thing because it's like, oh, well, like, I shared a fucking thing of like some little felt stop motion video fat chef dude. I don't know what it was called, but he was like half singing Billie Eilish's Bad Guy and fucking cooking. And I loved that. And I was just like, this gives me dopamine.
Phone
Hell yeah.
addiction.
You're right. You're right. It's actually a problem. I should not do that.
um
Doesn't matter. It gives me joy.
so yeah, number one, hygiene. Everybody collectively was like, if you can't take care of yourself, or I should say, your surroundings. So it's like, if let's say you spend a lot of time in your bedroom and your bedroom is just filthy, like
Hmm.
takeout bags everywhere, you can't really walk through it without stepping on something, um or you stink and the fucking room smells like you.
if you don't
Lots of people
if
were saying
you don't
hygiene is a
have a
huge
bad
ick.
hygiene ick, I got some bad news for you.
You're the stinky kid.
It's like those pictures where it's like 1 out of 3 people is gay, and if I'm not gay, the person who sent you this video is not gay. I got some bad news for you. It's like if
But I feel like we've talked about hygiene
oh yeah,
before, and like,
I know you and I have privately, Meg, because when I was telling you that, like, the of kind of what the icks are, and I was just like, oh well, number one's hygiene. Um, and how I said to you, I was like, no, obviously number one ick is hygiene. If you don't take care of yourself in any capacity at all, gone. I'm not even gonna go on a date with you. But I also said, I was like, it does kind of depend, because I am a stinky fucking person. I sweat a lot, but I'm also aware that I sweat a lot.
right.
Like at work, I'm very active. I'm running around. It's also I'm up in the ceiling and heat and hot air rises. Like it's just warm and I'm constantly sweating. I also go to the gym, so I'm active and I'm sweating there. It's like I'm aware, but I take care of it, and I never get told that I fucking smell bad, which thank God. I said to you, Meg, I'm like, if somebody pulled me aside and was like, hey, you kind of stink right now, I think genuinely I would fall down on my knees, piss myself, and cry.
Like it was like a lot of
Make yourself
people, yeah.
stinky more because you pissed your
Like a lot
pants.
of
I mean, I
people,
have nothing else
a
to
lot of
lose.
people do that thing where it's just like when times are tough, like they'll be like, "Oh, like I haven't showered in a few days," or like however long. Not to get personal, but I'm pretty sure like I went to hang out at your apartment like maybe a week after you had broken up with your ex, Lara,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just like, I in my brain I was like, if Lara's having a tough time, like obviously I'm not gonna fucking bring it up, but like I walked in like everything was still clean, neat, and I was like, oh, well, fucking all right, cool, let's bust out those. Or no, it was Bakugan. It wasn't Beyblade.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it
it
was
was
Bakugan.
Bakugan. You showed me how you're actually
Yeah.
supposed to play the game because it turns out you're not just supposed to drop them on the cards and go, wow.
Well, that was the old way, and then the new way they introduced the cards, and then now they completely fucking dropped that.
I just want to like live and be able to like hold Bakugan between my fingers and just be cool as fuck like that. You know what I mean? Just like have them just like fucking ready.
I
That was honestly,
would be able to, but I
I
don't have them
forget
with me
who the
right now.
first character was. It might have been fucking Gary, which makes sense because he's a pretentious jackass. But
With the
you know, in
badges.
Pokemon, the first trainer that Ash runs into who has like the shrunk down Pokeballs between all of their fingers,
Oh
I was like,
yeah.
that's hard. I want Pokemon to be real just so I can go up to people and be like, fucking check the gang.
I mean, it's also in the same vein how Yu-Gi-Oh characters hold their
Yep.
cards just in really weird fucking ways, and I'm like, oh, that's kind
Yeah.
of cool. I'd break my fingers, but that's dope.
My favorite thing was like watching animes like that is when like they've got the card in their hand like this and the camera cuts and then like somehow they go from three fingers, like I'm looking at the card, this is a good one, and then suddenly like they drop their thumb and somehow like perfectly get their pointer finger behind it
Flipping
and then
out the
flip it
camera.
around. I was like,
Yeah,
what the fuck?
they're like,
But that's the thing, like people who can do like card tricks, some people can just like literally do weird shit with the fucking card. I'm like, I don't know where that came from, but you're cool as fuck for doing that.
yep,
I love good close up
It's like
magic
that
though.
video
love
I
where
good
think that's
finger
cool as fuck.
dexterity.
it's
You
like
know
the
what I'm
video where
saying?
the guy's just like he takes a quarter out from behind the guy's ear and he just goes, whoa, he goes, if you want to impress me, do that with a chicken nugget, and he fucking does. Like the magician just goes, "Oh, a chicken nugget," and he reaches behind his ear and just pulls out like a fucking McDonald's nugget, and the guy
Is
like,
this the short feminine man with a fat ass that I've been needed in my life?
So anyways, back on the hygiene topic, we also talked about it on the podcast, I believe, because we were talking about something and then you literally said you were like, if she doesn't wash her legs, like I'll get in the shower and teach her how to wash her legs. And I said, Laura, if you're in a
we
shower
did.
with a nasty fucking person, you're too far. I don't wanna get undressed with someone who doesn't fucking
Listen,
bathe
I'm trying
properly.
to save the planet and conserve water. So,
But she
if
don't bathe properly. She's like, I'm conserving water because I don't shower. And you're
But
like,
here's
well,
the
I'll
thing.
teach
I'm
you how,
saying, like,
babe.
I wouldn't
No, fuck
know
you.
until, like, we get in. If I get in the shower with her, let's say I don't know that she does not wash her legs. She does not tell me. She don't, and she's white, so she don't look ashy, right? So if we get in the shower and all she does is wash the top of her body and that's it, and I'd be like, let me get your legs for you. And then afterwards, I'd probably be like, do you like never wash your legs? And then if she goes, oh yeah, I never wash them, like, I'm out. I'm out.
yeah. If I
Goodbye.
saw that
I'm
happen,
gargling
if I saw
bleach.
that happen, I would 100% be like, baby girl, you got two halves of your body. Why are you only doing
Why
this
you
one?
only-
What's going on?
Why, yeah.
Down there, that's where some of the important stuff is going. You got to keep that one clean for sure.
Got to keep those two things clean and your feet.
Yeah.
So anyways, Icks and hygiene, and we should just keep it clean and end the podcast here.
Well, we got to do a question.
Yeah, Meg.
No.
Well, my question was just going to be, what is your guys' number one ick that isn't hygiene? Because obviously, if I just said, what's your number one ick, I feel like we would all say hygiene. But what's one that isn't hygiene for you personally? Mine is if they are constantly the victim in every fucking thing ever. Because again, what's the common denominator here?
Take
That's
care of your
mine.
fucking, like, people who don't care about their pets, like people who
Ooh,
are
yeah,
totally
that's a good
cool
one.
with like getting rid of a pet. And I'm like,
Like, that's your family. That's your child.
there are some people obviously who like situations come up where they need to rehome their pets and like need to make adjustments in their life, and like that sucks. But like if you're just like, oh yeah, well my dog
Like
was
it's
pissing
just
in
a
the
dog.
house, and like my dog was pissing in the house, so I got rid of it, and it's like,
as an
well, why was it
extension
pissing
of
in the house?
that, just
Why did you let
people
your
who
dog
are
piss in the
mean
house?
to wild animals as well, like
Absolutely
like
agree.
as a
I, th-
kid I
I
remember hearing like, oh, shark infested water, that's terrifying. As an adult I'm like, you mean their fucking house? What do you mean
I
shark?
would
And that's their home, you're infesting it.
yeah, people that
Mm-hmm.
are rude to just any animal, whether it's domesticated,
Right.
wild, whatever. Like if you are
If
mean
you
to
let your
animals, that tells me
kid, yeah,
everything I need to
if
know
you
about
let your
you.
kid like run around and like terrorize birds on the beach instead of just, gently getting them to like fly away so they don't like get into something dangerous or get hurt. If you let your kid just like chase them around, you're an asshole.
I feel like chasing birds,
It's
depending.
kind of fun. I'm not gonna lie.
I
You
was
guys
gonna
are
say like I feel
monsters.
like I feel like it depends, because if you're just like, oh, let me run through a crowd of birds, I think that that's
Yeah,
fine and
like
innocent
that's what
enough.
like
Like
just
you're
kind of
not
like getting
like
them away. But
grabbing
I'm
at
saying like
them.
if the kid is like constantly like waiting for the bird to land, running like just constantly, basically like harassing.
Oh, like
Yeah, like
terrorizing
basically
them.
harassing,
Yeah.
like waiting for them
Okay.
to land somewhere and then running at them again, and just eventually like you need to tell your child like, hey, leave the fucking
They live there
right.
too.
Or
Hmm.
maybe you get lucky and your kid is trying to be a little jackass with like a Canada goose, and that motherfucker will teach your kid that what they're doing is wrong. The number of videos that I have enjoyed watching of a Canada goose just chomping on a kid, oh, brings joy to my heart.
Fuck them kids. All right, so we keep it ick free, keep it clean,
Keep it clean.
keep it
Keep it
clean.
clean.
Oh yeah.